France has sent hundreds of Roma people back home, and that is where they should stay, according to the French government. I want to see what the Roma's lives are like in Romania. In my attempts to understand their culture better, I begin by visiting a metal worker. Petru Calderar and his family see themselves as upholders of a centuries-old Roma tradition. Petru says he and men like him learned their craft from their fathers and forefathers. Everything is as it always was. Their ancestors were tinkers, traveling from village to village offering their services. Back then they were outsiders, and that's how the Calderar family is often perceived today. Elisabetta Calderar tells me they're proud of their clan and their nationality, and they'll never forsake their identity. They keep themselves to themselves and don't want anything to do with other gypsies, as she puts it. Elisabetta learned to read and write with her grandchildren when she was 50 years old. A concession to the modern world, perhaps, but only a small one. She says they won't give up their traditional costume. It's what their people have worn for generations, and married women must cover their heads. But the majority of the around 50,000 Roma living here in the region around Sibiu would like to arrive in the modern world. That's not easy for them. Roma are seldom seen on the town square. The city has banned begging, and that mainly affects the Roma. Many have no training and no job, but they get by somehow. City authorities are trying to help them get papers and education and jobs. I accompany two social workers, Maria Michela Russo and Mirela Miliana Hagiak, on a house call. Maria says it's hard for the Roma to change. They don't even try to break out of the poverty cycle. But Mirela says they can't break out of it, and that also has consequences for their health. Many of them are ill. The two women help mothers who are raising children on their own. The benefit payments are very low. Adela Banu gets around 70 euros a month. It's not enough for her to service her debts of around 600 euros. Her electricity was cut off some time ago. She relies on the city canteen for food. Adela tells the social worker she's not afraid of work, that she's normally able to put bread on the table for her children. But at the moment, she says, she just can't earn money. She's caring for her sick daughter, but she also has no training. By the time she realized she needed skills, she was already a mother, and going begging in other countries is not an option. She says she wouldn't put her children through that, and she'd rather stay here and live from the little the Lord has given her. But the social workers know many Roma women who have gone seeking their fortunes abroad. I want to ask Florin Ciorba about this. He's the self-appointed king of the gypsies here, and he's concerned about the signal that France is sending by expelling the Roma. Florin says the French got a taste of some people it didn't want to have there and sent them home. And that these were exactly the same French people who had said Europe is a house for everyone. But now the Roma aren't allowed in that house. When the Roma king tells me about the rights they are entitled to, I ask him what he thinks about European standards. I'd heard he wanted to marry off his daughter when she was 13 years old. There was widespread criticism, including from the European Parliament, and he postponed the wedding for a few years. He tells me from that time on, he's been trying to make his community aware of this, to explain to them that it's not allowed. He says some listen and some don't. It's a custom you can't change overnight, he says. It should come from within. It's also ingrained attitudes in the majority which form the prejudices against the Roma, not only abroad, but also here in their homeland. The communists gave the Roma citizenship, but many Romanians still regard them as being other. What can I say, says this man. They like to put their hand in your wallet. They give the country a bad image, says another. Integrate them, is that difficult, says a third. Doina Grecu, who calls herself a gypsy, would probably agree. She wants to earn a little extra for herself and her 23 grandchildren because, again, social welfare didn't stretch far enough. But there's little interest in her twig brooms at the market. She says it's not worth her while. If she sells a broom for about €1, then once she's sold 10, she has enough for a packet of cigarettes and a loaf of bread. After deducting the bus fare, there's nothing left, but she says she has no other choice. Doina lives in Hosman, a village near Sibiu. These houses were once home to the German minority in Romania, but now Roma have moved in. During the communist era, Doina and her husband could help out with farm work. Now Roma are at the bottom of the list when it comes to jobs. Doina says today a kid wants a sweet and tomorrow he wants pocket money, but she can't give it to him, not today, nor tomorrow, nor the day after tomorrow. And at some point the kid thinks, that old neighbor there, I'll just kill him and take his money. That's why there's crime, she says. Only those who get away have a chance of escaping the poverty cycle. That's why these women are moved by what's happened with the Roma sent back from France. This woman says it's a democracy, we're allowed everywhere. Maria Bucataru says they can go to Germany, but if you just hang around, they'll throw you out. Maria knows what she's talking about. Some years ago, she moved to France with her husband to go begging there, without speaking the language or even knowing what city she was in. She didn't stay long. She missed her children, but the experience in France gave her the feeling that most people there can have a better life. She says their children just don't have the same possibilities as the children in France. Their children are born poor and die poor. At the well nearby, I meet Violeta Stoica. She's 23 and trying to make ends meet for herself and her daughter. Her biggest concern is that her small benefit may be cut off. We often go hungry, she says. It's difficult. She tells me she built her house herself from wood and scraps. But the drafts which blow in are bitterly cold in winter, and there are no sanitary facilities, no water, and no electricity. She worked today, she says, and she earned around €1. That will buy her daughter 2 diapers and a banana. When she gets home, she makes a fire, and then they go to bed and sleep. Violeta cannot read or write. She doesn't know what else she can do, other than to just hang on there. Her daughter is her whole existence, and she dreams of a better future for her. When she's bigger, she should go to school so she can learn, so she can leave, Violeta says. She shouldn't stay here with me. When she's 18, then she should be as far from here as possible. Violeta Stoica hopes her daughter will make a new life in Germany, Italy, or France, and I can understand that.